The Lake Forest Podcast is supported by viewers, listeners, and businesses just like you. Michelle Parno has lived and worked in Lake Forest for over 2 decades. Michelle's lending experience, when combined with her real estate expertise, makes her an invaluable asset to her clients as they navigate their home buying or selling process. Call Michelle now at 847-528-8721, 847-528-8721. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. Owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Ruzich, they are a cannabis cultivation center focusing on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Laracy & Company CPAs, founded in 2010 by Lake Forest's own Brian Laracy, specializes in tax preparation and bookkeeping services. Earning the People Love Us on Yelp award, their process is straightforward. Just upload, review, and file. For a free quote, visit LaracyCPA.com now. That's LARISEYCPA.com. I'm excited to share with you something special from our Lake Forest community, the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa, located at 775 North Bank Lane in Lake Forest near Wisconsin Avenue. This just isn't any spa. They offer an amazing blend of traditional spa services plus the added benefit of medical procedures and treatments. In a relaxing and luxurious spa environment, you can enjoy a range of cosmetic and aesthetic treatments. These are all performed under the supervision of top medical professionals. The Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa provides skin care, facial rejuvenation, body contouring, laser hair removal, Botox, dermal fillers, chemical peels, and much more. What's great is that each treatment is tailored not just to enhance your appearance, but also to address specific skin concerns and to promote overall well-being. So if you're looking to pamper yourself and take your beauty routine to the next level, give the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa a call at 224-768-8028 or visit them at their location on North Bank Lane. It's an experience your skin will thank you for. We'd also like to say we're thankful for our Patreon supporters, Otto, John C., Helen, Herrick, and J.M. How you doing?
Top of the morning.
Got any Lululemon I can borrow? Tried to get some today. All out.
Yeah. So, we record this show on Wednesdays, so we usually post the show then on Saturdays, so things may have changed from Wednesday morning to Saturday morning, but on Tuesday afternoon, Lululemon in Market Square here in Lake Forest got looted by a group of teenagers.
Hold on, you didn't say it right, Joe. They got looted.
We got a lot of Lululemon clothes in our house here, in a couple of the ladies' closets here.
Of course you do.
But yeah, I mean, we've seen videos of this happening elsewhere. A lot of in Chicago, Northbrook Court. I've seen that a couple times. Other places. I don't know if this has happened here before, but it's certainly disturbing.
Not in my time.
But what's really disturbing is we're then hearing reports of people who were driving near there that almost got hit by these guys speeding away on Deerpath. I saw Deerpath mentioned. I saw Green Bay mentioned. I saw McKinley mentioned. I saw Noble mentioned. I don't know where the hell these guys were from or where they were driving to. Like I said, as of us recording this, I heard there were warrants out for arrest, but they hadn't arrested them yet. But I have full confidence in the men and women in blue, the Lake Forest Police, to do their job and get these people.
Like what time?
What's that?
What time did it happen? Around?
I just heard yesterday afternoon. I didn't get it
in broad daylight.
Yeah, Tuesday afternoon. Yes, broad daylight.
I missed that. Wait a minute, that's brazen.
Yeah, you've seen videos of this where a large group of kids, and it doesn't have to be kids; it can be anyone, right? A large group of people go into a store and how many people are working in a retail store? Two, three, four, whatever. And just en masse grab a bunch of stuff and run out. And there's a car or multiple cars waiting for them outside usually, and then they split.
So did
So,
they
and,
just
and,
go
and
in?
often those cars are stolen, I might add, because they know a lot of times that people have license plate readers and all that stuff. So unfortunately, a lot of the carjackings that happen are so that they can get a car to use in a crime like this.
So it's not a smash and grab, it's just a looting, just going in and taking the
Yeah, they
stuff
were in
out.
the store was open.
It was open.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no. This was not a burglary at night. Though we did have but before I segue into that, because there was that burglary a few weeks ago I want to talk about because we have some new developments on that. But
Okay.
again, I'm fully confident, and by the time the show airs, they may have already got him. I'm sure the Lake Forest police will catch these people. You don't get away with stuff in Lake Forest in terms of our cops are great. They work with the other cops on that Lake County Major Crimes Task Force, as we had our guest on a while back to talk about. But, this is happening because, unfortunately, we currently have a state's attorney here in Lake County, Eric Reinhart. We've talked a lot about him on this show. But him and Kim Foxx in Cook County, they don't fully prosecute these crimes. So they know they're going to get away with a slap on the wrist, if even that, for doing it. Now, every once in a while, these criminals stray into other counties like DuPage and Will, where the state's attorneys are tougher, and they get the book thrown at them in DuPage and Will County. So, and this isn't even a partisan thing. The Will County state's attorney is a Democrat. So, I just, we've had Mary Cole on the show, and I'm fully supporting her. What's that noise in the background?
That's just Highland Park grumbling.
Oh, well, but like I said,
how do you like it?
we have a state's attorney who is effectively enabling this with his soft on crime policies. And Kim Foxx will be gone after this election. She didn't run again, and she's being replaced by someone that is going to be much tougher there, Eileen O'Neill Burke. So my fear is this stuff's going to escalate if Eric Reinhart gets reelected this November. So Mr. Reinhart's free to come on this show. We've invited him multiple times to give his side of this, but I just think we're going to see more of this as long as we have a state's attorney who's soft on crime like Mr. Reinhart and doesn't fully prosecute these offenses.
Messed up.
Yeah, so burglary. Let's talk about burglary.
Yeah.
Or more precisely, home invasion. We touched on this a few weeks ago. There was a big issue with an elderly woman on, I believe it was on Deerpath Road or near Deerpath Road, whose home was invaded. It was what they call a ruse burglary, where they ring the bell and say something's wrong or you fix your roof. I think in this case they said there's a part of your house is on fire or something like that. And they opened the door, and then they didn't tie her up. There were rumors that they tied her up, but they just physically, big guys and an 80-year-old woman, they just basically pushed her away or held her back. No injury, I'm told, but just held her. And then they took stuff out of her house. I don't know exactly what, probably, I'm guessing jewelry or things like that. This was a few weeks ago. Some residents came to the city council meeting, you may remember, to voice concern about it. And the police were they didn't want to talk too much about it. And usually when that's the case, when the city or the police don't want to talk about things, it's because they have an active investigation going. So they have made an arrest in this. The guy's name is Spanky Miller. I can't make this stuff up. From Chicago. And
buckwheat and alfalfa are still on the
maybe
loose.
They're still on the loose, right?
Last seen with a pit bull with a ring around its eye.
If only they were as innocuous as the Little Rascals. But yeah, but so again, Lake Forest Police did their job, but then the state's attorney, Reinhardt, only charged him with burglary, not the more serious crime of home invasion, which carries a far greater punishment. And there's a lot of people in town saying he should have been charged with home invasion because clearly this
It was an
burglary is like
invasion
if
of
you
a home.
yeah, burglary is like if someone breaks into a house when they're not home, like you're on vacation or whatever. But home invasion is people are in, and in this case, they restrained this woman um, to steal her stuff. So that's a more serious crime, and Reinhardt chose not to prosecute, though the evidence is fairly clear that this woman was held, and I'm sure she would testify and all that. So again, we need a new state's attorney, in my opinion. We need to elect Mary Cole, who's a real prosecutor, and get rid of this guy who, seems to be more on the side of the criminals than he is on the victims. He won't even use the word victim. Remember, we heard that they can't even use the word victim there anymore. Jeez.
What do you call them?
Suckers. I don't know. That's what he calls them. I don't know. I mean, we're suckers if we reelect this guy, but
well, let me pile on your doom plate. Walgreens, 2,000 stores.
yeah.
It gets back to that Lululemon, all this shoplifting that's going on. They can't lock the stuff up. Amazon's coming into play. Going into a store is not going to be a thing anymore.
Sure, that's true. I mean, CVS also cut back a lot of stores not too long ago. A lot of people are getting their prescriptions mail order. My prescription plan, it's better to get the stuff on mail order if you can, as opposed to going to the pharmacy. So unless it's like an urgent thing that you're sick, I get the stuff mail order. So yeah, I'm in Walgreens less than I used to be. And obviously a lot of consumers are. I have heard that the store here in Lake Forest is safe as long as a member of the Walgreens family still lives here. So I don't know if that's true or not. Well, that's why Marshall Fields kept their store as long as they did here, because the Marshall Field family lived here. But then when Macy's took over, they kept it for a while, and they're like, forget it. So,
Hey, Tad, I know you're not listening or watching, but you do have the last name Walgreen. Why don't you give us a jingle and let's have a little chat. I think
don't leave town, man. We need you to keep our Walgreens here.
So getting back to Amazon, Amazon I've been a fan for a while, and I just recently had a little issue with them, and I started to look at my Amazon account, Prime, $138 a year. I think they're going to jack it up to 160, 170. And
used to be like a real small amount, remember?
But yeah, well, I'm looking at it. I'm like, why am I paying this? Because if you order over $35 on Amazon, it ships free anyways, right?
We used to do that. My wife, as you know, is the smart one in this house, and she would pool the orders together to get to the 35. But at some point we had the free trial. They lure you with that free trial and they get you. And now sometimes we get 3 Amazon deliveries in a day. I know there's a way you can combine them and stuff, but
well, for 100, I don't know, it's $15 a month or whatever it is. And I'm looking at it. I don't watch the videos. I don't listen to the music. I don't upload my photos.
What are you going to do on Thursday Night Football?
I look at the score online.
All right.
I mean,
what about when the Bears play though? I think in your home market, they still put it on local TV, I think. So I think they put it on like ABC or something.
Unless history reverses itself and the Bears somehow can mold a quarterback that's a rookie, I'm not too worried about it.
I guess you can always go to Duffers too, so watch the game there.
And Duffers, they're consolidating as well.
Yeah, I saw online. I don't know. Maybe we should talk to Jeff. I don't want to. I heard that they consolidated the Pucks and Donatis in Lake Bluff or something.
Well, yeah, you
Um,
don't, it's it goes from a land grab to consolidation, all the different brands and stuff. It just
well, also, look, let's be honest with ourselves. The economy isn't what it once was, right? So
when
people are eating out less than they did. If you got to cut back on expenses as a family, one of the first things you cut back on is how many times you go out to dinner as opposed to cooking at home, right? So who knows? But I mean, every time I've been at Duffers, it's been pretty busy. So I think we're good there, and we should always support local businesses. And I think your point about Amazon is that it really Amazon doesn't affect the restaurant really, but it affects retail. And we don't have a lot of retail here. We're not dependent on retail sales tax like, say, Vernon Hills or Schaumburg. But nonetheless, you want to try and support a local business whenever you can, particularly in the city that you live in, because they get a little bit of that tax revenue back from that, and every dollar they can collect in sales tax is a dollar that they don't need to collect from you in property taxes. So it's always good to try and support local
um
businesses. Plus, they're the ones that invest in local things, right? I mean, they support the little leagues and all the nice the fireworks display like we got and things like that. That Amazon ain't going to do that, right? So
well, Starbucks is the Amazon of coffee. So all you
that's
kids,
true.
you're running in there and you got Mary right down the street. You
Yeah,
also
go
got
to go to
hometown.
Gerhards,
Go to
hometown.
Gerhards number one, hometown number two. Don't
Once
you
Upon a Bagel is pretty good too. They got
people,
coffee.
you know what, those bagel people, come on the show. I know I reached out to you, a little tag here and there. Hey, come on the show, but I mean it. You know,
Yeah, we'll have them on. We'll
I
have them
want
on.
to
I've
know
been there a
why.
couple of times. I can't eat bagels, with the carbs and my health situation,
Yeah, I
but
know. And you're
But I
not
get the
Jewish.
I had their little lox plate and a couple of the other plates, and it's good stuff. And the coffee was pretty good. I still would prefer the Gerhardt's coffee, but yeah, it's nice that it's there right there on Deerpath.
Well,
I think they just got a seating area too. That was the big issue. Was it's a little storefront, but now they have a seating area inside that office building that used to be the movie theater many years ago. So,
well, the pendulum's also swinging back. People had enough of this woke stuff. So, and I look at Starbucks and they should have a woke flag out in front. People had enough of that stuff.
yeah, I mean, look,
Busy.
Starbucks is a very successful company. You got to give them credit. They took what used to be,
Howard
I mean,
Howard
coffee was 30
Schultz.
cents in a styrofoam cup, right? Back before they came around. And they made it into a whole experience. And they were one of the first with the app where you could order ahead of time and stuff. So you got to I'll give them credit, just like Amazon, like Bezos and that.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to give them credit for that. But at the same time, we got to
Howie
stick with
Schultz
local
was once Mary
businesses.
Groib. Now Howie Schultz is Bezos. I think he's worse than Bezos. Just
Yeah,
saying.
these guys get a lot of money and they forget how they made the money.
Uh no, they get caught up in the system. I mean, they're especially Howard Schultz and the Starbucks. I mean, they're far left. He is just grew into that coming out of the West
Seattle.
Coast, Seattle, coming from over there, and then
So I do recall when the whole debate was happening about Obamacare, or excuse me, the Affordable Care Act. The I think Starbucks came out against it, or Howie Schultz came out against it, and that's probably because they didn't want to pay all that money as an employer. And a lot of people were shocked by it. But somebody said to me, "Hey, they are really left wing on social stuff, but economics, you mess with their bottom line and they'll mess back with you.
Well, if you're a
So
public company, you don't have a choice. And Disney's going down the tubes. I think Starbucks eventually is going to get a little taste of that action. And I guess my point is, look, if you want to be woke, don't push it on me. I'm not going to push my stuff on you. Don't push your crap on me. That's all. That's all I'm saying. So
don't raise my taxes. That's all I ask.
Speaking of crap, what the hell happened at the debate? CNN, when they turned from minute one, they turned on him. That was a setup from the go.
Brutal. I mean, look, we're a local podcast, so everybody's heard a million different
everybody's talking about it.
But yeah, no, everybody's talking about it. I'll give my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Look, he obviously did a horrible job. We were coming home that night. That day was also my wife's birthday, and
Happy
so
birthday,
we were out
Debbie, again.
Yes, we were out for dinner with her folks, and we were coming back to the house, and we're in the car, and it's 8 o'clock. The debate starts, so it was on one of, I think, WBBM or one of the news stations, and so we put it on, and you hear the moderators talking, and again, it's AM radio, so not the best quality. But then the first question goes to Biden, and it's like, I hear this faint voice, and and I'm like, and I was driving, and I looked at my family like, and I thought, well, maybe something's wrong with the microphone, maybe the radio's bad or something, whatever. Then it's Trump's turn to answer, and he sounds like Trump. Always sounds, but very bold. So clearly it's not a microphone or audio problem. It's a Joe Biden problem. Like, oh my gosh. Hey, I mean, he was worse than he normally is. Now they're saying he had a cold and all this, but
yeah, okay.
But clearly he is not up to the job. I mean, that's so obvious.
Mr. Political strategist, Mr. Political action dude, they knew that. They put him out there to die.
Well, that is a theory out there that
there's no theory.
Purposely had this debate early to get rid of him. Because everybody's wondering, why in the world are they having a debate on June 27th?
When he was hiding in the basement till whenever the last
and time. He was preparing for a week. No president has ever been isolated for a week preparing for a debate that I can remember.
No, Joe, I'm talking, okay, that's Camp David this time around. I'm talking about the last cycle. He was hiding in his basement.
Yeah. Well, that was because of COVID, sir. He was afraid.
Okay, sir, but still,
he's keeping us safe.
Out till whenever.
No, it worked.
Now he's out in June.
He won. Maybe he should go back to the basement. He won that way. And he did win in 2020. I disagree with some of my friends.
If they really wanted Biden, they would have kept him in the basement because they know he was like this.
Well, I think they were in a spot where, he was the president. They couldn't get rid of him, but they knew he was weak. And they're scared to death of Trump being the president again. Though I don't know why my Democratic friends hate Trump so much, because no one has done more to grow the Democratic Party, especially in states like Illinois, than Donald Trump. But that's just me talking. But seriously, they know they got a problem with this guy, right? So, but here's the other problem they got. Kamala Harris, the vice president, is polling worse than Joe Biden is head-to-head against Trump. So if they pick someone else besides her, now you're dissing the woman of color, right? And that's exactly why they picked her in the first place, right? So she's clearly not up to the task either, and senility ain't her problem. But she made a total fool of herself in that press conference last year or 2 years ago with the head of, I don't know if he's president or prime minister of Poland, where he had to correct her on basic geographical facts. So ever since that disastrous press conference, the Biden people have kept her away. They don't trust her.
But, Mr. Strategist, sir, Can if
See
they
here,
brought
I don't know. Oh.
if
I'm
they
not.
do if they do get somebody that isn't like Walking Dead, can they raise money from now till the election to, I don't know what the legalities are. That's what I've heard. They can
Well, there is, I've read a couple articles that to replace him, unless if he steps out, if he says I'm leaving or I'm not running,
yeah.
then it makes it easier for them. But if he says, hell no, I won't go, I'm the nominee, then that's going to be next. They can do it, but it's very hard because a lot of those delegates legally have to vote for him on the first ballot. So unless he steps aside, he almost certainly becomes the nominee. But to your question about fundraising, I don't know if you can transfer all that money from Biden, whatever the Biden campaign committee is, to a new campaign committee. Now, if you remember when Bloomberg ran in the 2020 primary and he got clobbered, he then said, I'm going to spend my money helping Joe Biden beat Donald Trump. But that was his money, not campaign money raised. Um, that said, I don't know, it's a problem right now, but we've seen so many times where something is an outrage for a week or two, and then we move on to something else. And I remember two other presidential cycles where 2012, Barack Obama had a really bad first debate against Mitt Romney because it was in Denver and he supposedly had air sickness. But then he bounced back second debate, and that was the end of Romney. And in 1984, Ronald Reagan, first debate, had a senility moment in that debate where he said something kind of bizarre, and everybody's like, "Uh-oh, is he up to the task?" And mind you, he was like 10 years younger than Biden is right now.
Yeah.
But then the second debate, he came back strong, and he had that fame. And they asked him a question about his age in the debate and his health, and he came up with that winning line
Yeah.
that you hear about saying, "I won't make my opponent's youth and inexperience an issue in his campaign." And Walter Mondale later wrote in his autobiography that that's when he knew he lost the election. Reagan said that line. So so this could all bounce back. I'm still
How?
skeptical that Trump wins, but I don't know.
Did
I
you
mean,
see Biden come off that stage?
oh, you see him walking anywhere when he walks to Air Force One,
Yeah. So what's China and Russia doing?
licking their chops is what they're doing. That's for sure.
Well, who's really running things then?
It's a good question. Is it the chief of staff? Is it the? It's not Kamala Harris. I can tell you that.
I mean, I'm trying to
Um,
go through my history here. You had Eleanor running things for FDR. I forgot who else had a stroke earlier than that.
Woodrow Wilson.
Woodrow Wilson, right, right. So you know, what's Dr. Biden's
He
first
supposedly had Nancy Reagan running things for Ronald Reagan
and
too.
yeah,
Remember,
yeah.
she consulted with the astrologer or whatever. I don't know if that's true,
But
but
what if they what is that article that they can put in there that just boots him out because he's
oh, the 25th Amendment.
whatever.
That'd be pretty bold.
So if they do that,
Yeah,
then
but
does
then
it
Kamala
Kamala?
Harris is the president. So there is a theory that if you're going to run Kamala Harris, get her to be president now so that she hits the ground running and can show she's presidential. I've read that a number of times.
All they got to
So,
do, I'm no
but that
stranger.
involves, I don't know if to invoke the 25th Amendment, I think you need the cabinet to do that. And all these people were appointed by Joe Biden. So I don't know, I mean,
Well,
how
for it to
far this
work,
goes, we'll find out, right? Though, I
they, they
mean,
they pull that trigger and they just hide her in the basement till the election. It's all
well,
you got.
I think they need to, I think they need to actually, if they do this, if they were to do that and she becomes president, I think they probably would need to actually put her out there and having her do presidential things so that by election time, people are like, oh, it wouldn't be so bad if she was president. And I hate Donald Trump so much that I'll just go with Kamala Harris or something. Look, and again, we're not a swing state in Illinois. The Trump campaign is not campaigning in Illinois, so that's official that we're not a swing state. I mean, Wisconsin is a swing state, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, all those states, but we ain't one. So,
Well,
but I think that the Biden's base has got to be depressed. I mean, which then helps down ballot candidates like Mary Cole. So yeah, I mean, look, make no illusions that Donald Trump's going to win Lake County, but Eric Reinhardt, Joe Biden won Lake County by I think 20 points last time, and Eric Reinhardt only won by 4 points. So you already have a 16-point swing.
Now, hold on. Now, I got a note. Like 3 or 4 days ago that somebody thought that Trump will get tossed in jail. Then the Supreme Court came along. You want to explain that?
Yeah, so the Supreme Court said the president basically has immunity, is the way I hear it. I'm not a constitutional scholar.
Okay.
But I play one on this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm not a lawyer, and I play one here on the podcast. But yeah, I mean, so he basically this got punted till after the election, is the way I read it. So. And I think I don't.
What is the presidential act? Is that the thing? What's in the act of being a president? Right? Is that what's the question?
I guess. Yeah. I think so. Yeah. I mean, the Constitution states that the only way a president can be removed from office is through impeachment. But the House votes to impeach, which they did twice with Trump and once with Bill Clinton. But then the Senate has to convict. They have a trial and they convict. And you need a supermajority to do that. And Trump got, every Republican or almost every Republican voted. You need a sizable number from both parties to actually remove someone from the presidency. I'm told that that's why Nixon actually did resign, because the Republicans in the Senate came to him and said, "Look, the votes are there to remove you, so probably should resign." But the votes were never there in the Senate to remove Trump, so it just became theater. And the votes were never there in the Senate to remove Bill Clinton, so it became theater back in the 90s. I'm not excusing what either of them may have done, but I'm just saying it takes to remove a president from office it truly takes a bipartisan act.
Okay, the soccer
like Rod Blagojevich was in Illinois.
Mr. Strategist, sir, these soccer moms out there, okay, who just don't like the look of Trump, don't like his talk, his text, offended by him. And then you got Biden like walking out like, what is the soccer like? What are they?
Well, I think it's more than just soccer moms. I think there's a lot of swing voters that just don't like Donald Trump. I mean, we've seen that over the years. It's not just women, it's a lot of men too.
I'm making a generalization of what I hear in a bar.
He doesn't play well in the suburbs. Let's just put it that way. Rand does not play well, and neither did Darren Bailey. But yeah, I think. My Republican friends are going to hate me for saying this. I think they stick with Biden no matter what.
Okay.
I think that I'm still skeptical that Trump wins this thing. I'm no fan of Joe Biden. He's a horrible president, no question about it. But I still think there's a lot of pent-up anger there about Trump and his personal behavior and everything, and his character and stuff. He did. Look, the economy before the pandemic during his presidency was roaring, was absolutely doing great up until the pandemic. And I'm convinced that I don't know how any president would have handled the pandemic, because it's unprecedented. That said, if he could have just smiled like Ronald Reagan did, he would have won at least 40 states like Ronald Reagan did, because the economy was doing so well. But he just has a way of turning a lot of people off. Like I said, economics, I think he's pretty good. I have a couple disagreements with him. I don't agree with the tariffs. On that, it's interesting that the Republican that the
China.
Republican, well, look, we needed, China's a problem. I'm not denying
Yeah.
that, but I think tariffs, it's so funny because years ago, it was the exact opposite. The Democrats were for tariffs because of the unions, and the Republicans were against tariffs because they were the pro-business party, and they realized the economics of it. The reality is, look, your iPhone, where's it made? China.
China.
Um, and the Android phones are made there too. I mean, if we started putting high tariffs on the stuff that comes in here, who do you think is going to pay that? We are in higher prices. It's great to buy American. I try to anytime I can, but the reality is that it costs more to do business. What they need to do is figure out a way to make it less expensive to do business in our country, so that we can compete with that. But that's
What
and
was
the other issue I have with Trump is the is some of the isolationist stuff. I think it's short-sighted when you become isolationist. You can't. We've learned World War I and World War II both got out of hand because we were isolationists prior to that.
I agree with that. What was the everybody on the left says Trump is lying or misinformation. Like what was he lying about?
I I mean, the
They're
problem we
spinning,
have
but
now,
like actual
the
lying.
problem we have now is these debates have become so uncivil from both sides.
Yeah.
Look, Joe Biden wouldn't shake Donald Trump's hand. So, I mean, we've
I
gotten
don't think he
so
could.
polarized.
Could he lift his hand?
By the way, the best line Trump had of the night
Dr.
was
Biden was behind her husband.
the best line Trump had that night. And I think if
I don't
Biden
know
does
what the hell he
lose,
just said.
yeah, I don't know what he just said, and I don't think he does either. I mean, that could go down in debate history as one of the best lines, unfortunately, for Joe Biden. If it turns out that he stays on and he does lose to Trump, but it'll be right up there with "There You Go Again" by Ronald Reagan
Yeah.
and all sorts of famous lines. Or I knew John F. Kennedy, and you're no John F. Kennedy. Remember that one? But the it's just really just we've gotten so polarized, Pete, that it's just there's no middle ground anymore. And it you go back and look at old debates from even like 10, 15 years ago, we had serious discussions about important public policy issues. Now it's just you're a liar, you're inept, you're a liar, you're
Yeah.
senile, I mean, it's just we didn't really talk about any issues. It just and like I said, Biden is just as bad as Trump on this, in my opinion. So if he says tax cuts help the economy, you used to say, if you were a Democrat, you used to say, well, I don't agree with that. I think we need to do this instead of cutting taxes. Now they just say, oh, you're a liar. So it's just we've really dumbed down politics,
Yeah.
and both sides are guilty of it. We've talked about this before. It's just sad. There's very little middle ground left in politics, which is sad because I think most voters, in a general election at least, are still middle of the road.
Well, the middle of the road isn't engaged, and they don't spend money. It's the people on either side are spending money for these elections, is my opinion. And the people in the middle, they don't spend the money and they don't put the time into the local stuff that
True.
builds up to the national stuff. So
It's
here,
very true. You're right. I mean, the squeaky wheel gets the grease,
yeah.
and in the Republican Party, that's the right wing, and in the Democratic Party, it's the left wing.
I try to insult as many Republicans as Democrats, but it's very
You're
hard.
an equal opportunity insulter.
The Republicans blowhards and they speak in language that I don't know what the hell they are saying. Speak to me.
Taxes? How about that?
That I
There
understand.
is you do have an element of truth, and that's why I think Ronald Reagan did so well. Was he was very personable and didn't talk like a politician.
Yeah.
And
Connect.
he grew up a very actually he didn't even grow up middle class. He grew up poor. If you go to his boyhood home in Dixon, Illinois, which I highly recommend,
Western Illinois, great
he
town.
he did not live a life of luxury at all. So, I mean, he really pulled him. I mean, then he became a radio announcer, and then he became an actor and stuff. But he grew up under he didn't inherit money from his family or anything like some of these other guys do. So you got to give him credit on that, and that's why I think he could relate better to people because he was a regular guy.
And that's what the Republicans have. You have people that communicate, that don't connect with people to communicate their points, to get them off of their butts to do something. And then we're stuck.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think
Yeah. So here we are.
and I'm sure Democrats would say the same thing about some of their people because
I don't know.
yeah. So you want to talk about center ground and a few of the moderate politicians that are left? Our friend and former guest, Brad Schneider.
Oh, I heard he threw a late night party. What happened?
Man, Brad didn't throw it. Unfortunately, these Hamas supporters threw it. I guess so. He lives in Highland Park, and
He
early
lived in
Saturday
lives in
morning.
Highland Park. He used to live in
What's
Deerfield.
that?
I thought
He
he
used to live in Deerfield.
Yeah.
He moved a couple years ago and actually became a subject of a petition challenge a couple years ago because he was in the process of moving and they were claiming he had the wrong address or something, but the
Yeah.
state board of elections ruled it was an invalid challenge. But and the reality is he's always lived in the 10th, at least as long as he's been the congressman. But he lives in Highland Park now. And I think when he did the show with us, I think he was in his house when when he was on our show. If you look in the background, it looked like his house. And but unfortunately, Saturday morning at 3 o'clock in the morning or so, about 40 people show up in his neighborhood and start. They weren't just protesting; they were chanting things like "Death to Jews." Is what I've been told by a few people. And they actually did spray paint, like some red spray paint on his driveway to symbolize blood, because they're against the U.S. supporting Israel. And Schneider has been pretty good about supporting Israel. I disagree with him on the Iran deal, and that's why I'm supporting Jim Karras instead of Brad Schneider. But nonetheless, I think compared to most Democrats, Brad Schneider has done a pretty good job in sticking with Israel. Now, you would think he would, given it's one of the most Jewish districts in the country and certainly the most Jewish district in the state. But that said, I mean, there is no place. I think it's bad when people protest in front of people's houses anyways. You want to protest. First of all, I think protests are a waste of time. That said, there is a First Amendment. But I think if you protest during the day in front of somebody's office, okay, fine, whatever. Don't block traffic. But to go to a politician's house, I think that's just wrong. Okay, and even politicians I've disagreed with, Lori Lightfoot, Mike Madigan, they've had protesters at their house, and I think that's just wrong.
But Lori's got a crap load of police.
But then at 3 o'clock in the morning, waking up all of his neighbors and shouting death to Jews in a predominantly Jewish neighborhood. Oh my gosh.
What's their
and I don't know why they weren't arrested. I still don't understand why. And I hate to I'm very pro police. So I want to think that this was an order from higher above. Well, but I think the Highland Park cops and the Lake Forest cops work well together. We saw that during the tragedy in July 4th.
Highland Park.
Well, that could be the problem. Is the mayor probably? I don't know if they called the mayor and said at 3 a.m. and said we got a problem here, but they apparently have a policy to de-escalate, and in their de-escalation, everybody left. I don't think they even got the names of who these people were. If they did, I would call on Eric Reinhart, the Lake County State's attorney, to prosecute these people for a hate crime. Because
I would call my Ring or Nest camera and have the recording and go get these SOBs.
Well, there are recordings,
just like the Lulu looters.
There are recordings of the protests. I hate to even call it a protest because that gives it too much credibility. I just
against
people
being smart.
people chanting death to Jews or death to any religion. My God, that is completely un-American.
Do you know if these were kids? Like I guess I could understand the college kids who are getting misinformation or whatever, but older, like I don't get it.
I don't know. The problem is they all had masks on. If you look at the
Oh,
video, every single one of them had a mask on, so you couldn't tell what their ages were. Look, if someone is of Palestinian heritage, I don't agree with their opinion, but I get it, kind of get it. Again, I don't agree with them. I think Israel is absolutely right in what it's doing. But when it's some college kid who has nothing to do with the Middle East or anything, and it's just a bandwagon and they're just getting on whatever is today's cause. Today it's this, tomorrow it's elephants being hunted somewhere. I mean, it's just all, and PETA. It's just the trendy thing to do for some of these kids is to protest stuff. And look, we saw our parent, not our parents, but people of our parents' age, they had the Vietnam protest. So this isn't a new thing. It was the cool thing in the 60s to protest the Vietnam War by these kids.
well, I think this all goes back to FDR, World War II, and cutting up. There's so much stuff that had to be done, and they just put the Middle East stuff on the side and didn't address it then. Is that what happened?
Well, yeah. I mean, when Europe was burning, the Middle East was kind of a sideshow, but it ain't a sideshow now.
Yeah, yeah. So,
So,
and it was
yeah.
Russia back then. We're all freaking out about Russia. Now,
Putin's trying to get the band back together there with the old Soviet Union.
you got
And
anything left with Ukraine? You thought the 80s Afghanistan gave them problems.
well, and the reason that Ukraine has been able to fight back is because we've given them
Yeah.
some weapons and stuff. If the U.S. hadn't stepped in, that would be a Russian colony at this point.
Oh,
And
I
and
know
he would
annexation.
probably
Yeah.
be marching on to Poland and Lord knows where else.
So
Some
I
of
think
those Baltic states like Estonia and stuff like that.
Latvia.
Latvia, yeah, like I said, he's trying to get the band back together of the old Soviet Union, and that's not good for us to have that.
Well, the new axis is now it's not Italy, it's North Korea, it's Russia and China. China's
And
got their
Iran,
own.
don't forget
Oh,
Iran,
yeah, okay, I'll throw them in there. Well,
Cuba.
China has first of all, anybody that's listening to this, don't take anything I say as fact. We are sitting here at the bar, but
We're just
close enough. But I think China has got their real estate collapse still coming. Russia's running out of, I mean, they still have oil and energy, but nobody's buying it. North Korea, I think they're going to blow themselves up with their warheads. And then Iran, I don't know. A couple tweaks here and there, a couple of drone strikes, and that'll take care of that. I don't know. But we'll
well,
see.
Israel's doing our job for us every when they take out stuff in Iran. And to
Well,
Trump's credit, Trump did the right thing in killing the defense minister of Iran when he was in Iraq that time, Soleimani or whatever his name was.
yeah. This the money that we're giving to Ukraine, I sort of get it because you're using that money to deplete the resources of your competitor. I sort of get it. I don't know if it's being done efficiently or not. I'm not sure what Trump is going to do on it because
Well, Trump made a good point that if Trump had been president, Putin wouldn't have even thought of doing this because he knew
yeah,
Trump would push a button. And supposedly he said to Putin at one point when he was the president that if you invade Ukraine, those those beautiful buildings in the Kremlin will all be in flames. So in other words, don't even think about it. So,
and
I mean, but
see,
now
that's
that's
the
the
rub.
difference.
That's the rub. That kind of talk turns off the soccer moms, but that's what the language that they understand over there. Don't F with us,
Look,
right?
peace, what's that phrase? Peace through strength, right? I mean, you want the country, our military to be so strong that people don't even think about it.
Dove no provie. Trust but verify.
Yeah, that was Reagan's line.
You like that?
Very good.
Well, it was supposedly Gorbachev that Reagan threw around on him. Reagan had some good writers. I mean, he was a great actor, and he played the role well. And
But he came up with some lines on his own there. That the there you go again, and I don't
now,
want
you
my
know what I heard
opponent's
on another
euthanics
podcast I
inexperience.
did? Somebody brought up Reagan, and I bit my tongue a little bit, and they talked smack on him, and uh, they said, "Well, I forgot his line, but he brought it up. I'm from the government. I'm here to help."
Yeah, those are the two great, the most scary phrase you can hear. Yeah, he did that, and remember way back 1980 when he was running in the primary against George H.W. Bush, who later became his vice president and then
In
president.
80, I thought, oh, the primary. Okay.
Primary, there
Okay.
was this debate in New Hampshire, and there was a fight over who could be in the debate, and they're all arguing on stage about it. And the moderator said, because Reagan was complaining about it, and the moderator said, "Would you please turn Governor Reagan's microphone off?" And Reagan, again, you can't script this.
Yeah.
Reagan just said, "I am paying for this microphone." And the crowd, like, whoa. And a lot of people think that's when he won the nomination because of that moment. So he had a vision, and he had a very, I mean, people at the time called him a warmonger and all. It was going to
Yeah.
start a nuclear war and World War III and all this business. And you look back, he was a really good president. He for an actor and a sports announcer, he did a pretty good job. But he
The
but he
Gipper.
he cut his teeth as governor of California. That was the difference. I wish Trump, maybe if Trump had run for a lower office first, which is
Remember,
probably beneath him.
have you
But
seen some of those
um,
videos of Reagan and those college protesters back in the
oh
Vietnam
yeah,
era?
he didn't mess
Oh,
around when he
you
was governor of at UC Berkeley and all
yeah,
that. Yeah.
Berkeley, yeah. Oh, that was something. We keep bringing up history. How about Nixon against Kennedy on TV for the '60 election as the worst debate performance ever? Then Biden says, "Here, hold my beer." Do you think it was the
I
worst
hope.
ever?
The thing about the Nixon Kennedy debate, you and I weren't alive yet, but I've read a lot about it, and that
We
debate was here
watched
in
it.
Chicago. Was in Chicago at the what was then the Channel 2 studio,
Yeah.
WBBM, I believe. But he people listening on the radio thought Nixon had
Nixon won.
won because substantively he did better than Kennedy, but he just looked terrible on TV. He was sweating. He had had surgery that summer, so his clothes were too big on him and stuff. And Kennedy looked like $1 million, like he always did. So,
Well, he was messed
um,
up too, but he looked better.
yeah.
He was
So
on a few.
people remember this was TV was a relatively new
Yeah.
thing in 1960, so people didn't think about all that stuff then.
Soccer moms love Kennedy.
Hey, Kennedy, look, John F. Kennedy
Be
was
a
the first
Republican today.
president to cut taxes to stimulate economic growth. So he was for Reaganomics before Reagan. And like I've said, I think he would be a Republican today, or he certainly wouldn't. That approach would not be welcome in the Democratic Party, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Cutting taxes to get the economy go, oh, can't do that. That's oh. But so so I don't know. Socially, he'd probably be still a Democrat, but who knows? I just it's really sad because like that was you had substantive debates and people got along. Nixon and Kennedy had had conversations, and if you go back and listen to some of the tapes over the years of the different presidents, they would call their opponents up and just talk about what was going on and get their point of view on things. That doesn't happen anymore.
Well, Kennedy, from what I hear, because neither one of us were there, but
Right.
Khrushchev liked him. Like they were buds. They were trying to figure out how to get things going, and it would have been why'd they take him out? Just saying.
Uh,
Just
okay,
saying.
Oliver Stone.
Okay. So anyways, so getting it back to locally, so what does this mean for, Mary Cole? What does this mean?
I think again, the combination of the stuff happening here in the county, like these burglaries and everything,
Lulu looting.
carjackings, um, plus if the base of the party is not as excited about the presidential election as they were in 2020, Reinhardt only won by 4 points last time. So I think there's definitely some movement that can happen there to get her over the top and win this. It ain't going to be easy. There's no question. There's a vote blue no matter who crowd in Highland Park, in Waukegan, North Chicago, a couple other places in the county. But I really think a lot of swing voters will end up voting. They won't vote for Trump, but they'll vote for Mary Cole. And it's just,
So we're talking
like I said, 16% of the voters did last time. They voted for Joe Biden, but then they voted against Eric Reinhardt. So this is not an impossible task.
Well, it's also the law of small numbers because 4 points on a small number is not that many people, is it?
Right. No, I forgot how many thousand, but it's doable. She has a winnable race. She's a great candidate. She's got the chops. If she loses, it will be for pretty much one reason and one reason alone, and that's enough people didn't pay attention to that race and just voted straight party. I'm telling you, if there were no party labels attached to this,
Yeah.
Mary Cole would win in a landslide.
Well, it's also who's running her campaign too, I would imagine.
That's secondary and inside baseball, but she's doing a great job. She just had a very
Secondary.
good
If
she
your
just had a
campaign
very
sucks.
she just had a very good fundraising effort. She's raising a lot of funds. She is I'm very confident that Mary will run a very good campaign and make every effort to win. Like I said, if the only reason I see her losing is if enough people just don't pay attention and vote straight party, like they did in 2020. That small number of people that just came out, and that's the problem with this stuff is, and I have family members. It's not just on the left; it's also on the right. I have family members, and I love them to death, but all they do is sit and watch Fox News all day. And then, left wingers, all they do is watch MSNBC or maybe CNN, whatever. And they have
CNN,
no,
they did a flip around, man.
yeah, it depends on the show too, also on CNN and who you get. But because some of them are pretty biased, but some of them are objective. But,
The
you
View,
know,
the View wants Biden out. How do
um,
you come back from
you
that,
watch,
Mr. Strategist?
you watch The View?
I
You
just
could
saw the
sit through
headline.
that? Oh, okay. Um, but my point here is
Actually,
bigger
I
than
should.
that. A lot of people just don't know local elections. All right. I actually
Why would
ran
they
into
want to?
someone. I ran into someone recently who lives in Lake County who thought Kim Foxx was their state's attorney because every night on TV they would see state's attorney Kim Foxx. So they thought Kim Foxx was their state's attorney because Chicago TV stations don't really cover the collar counties, even though we're part of the Chicago TV market. I remember many years ago campaigning for a candidate running for mayor in a suburb, and I knocked on the door, and the guy says to me, "I got to give this guy credit. It takes a lot of guts to run against Mayor Daley." And I'm like, "Daley is not your mayor, sir. You don't live in Chicago." And he had no clue because all he saw on TV was Mayor Daley, Mayor Daley, Mayor Daley.
All right, enough of the politics as we wrap up here. Shout out to all the smart people that put in that turf at Deerpath because of all this rain. Can you imagine how many
Ooh,
cancellations we would have?
yeah.
And we got the
So I'm
fireworks.
told, I'm told by my son, the umpire,
Yeah.
Though he's kind of scaled back his umpiring because of his summer internship.
Yeah.
But he umpired a game there, and it even when it's wet, you got to be careful because there's a little slipping and sliding by some of the kids. This was baseball. It's better than having a rain out or playing in the
They're
mud, no
they're still
question.
playing though.
Yeah, they're still playing, exactly, but
And
it is a
sliding is
little
part of
slippery.
baseball, just a little
I
bit
don't know.
more.
Did you ever play
Yes.
football on artificial turf?
Yes.
And do you use different cleats than you do on grass?
Couldn't afford them.
But if you could afford them, there is a different cleat for
Wore
turf.
gym shoes on turf and cleats on grass.
So maybe the kids need to wear different shoes when
They
the
wear
turf
cleats
is
on turf
wet.
today, just a different material.
Okay.
It's a look, it slows it down, right? A wet field slows it down, but at least you're still out there playing. If you slip, you're going to fall on your butt, okay? But you're still playing. If it was the old grass, it would have been like, all right, go play Nintendo or whatever they play today.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. And I think it's really cool. The cameras they got built in there. You can watch the game. If grandparents out of state can watch their grandkids game, or the kid can go back and watch the game and maybe adjust his moves from the game. I mean, this is a great props to the city for doing this.
I was going to bring up somebody's name who didn't want the turf in there. Just all the people that didn't want the
But
turf.
then went to the dedication.
City Council for supporting the vision for this
Why would you go to a
project,
dedication of something
especially
you
former
voted
Mayor George
against?
Kent.
I don't know.
But it's kind of my
Parks and
point. It's
Recreation.
like,
And then not clap when the mayor's name is said. Refuse to clap when everyone else is clapping.
Parks and
Okay.
well, we'll see.
And you want to be mayor? Okay.
She said no.
I hope so.
We'll see. Are you going to the fireworks?
Planning on it, weather permitting. I mean, we're recording on Wednesday, so by the time this gets posted, everyone will know what the weather was.
Should I post this early or wait till Saturday?
Why people? You know what?
Because
When we
Lulu
post the
looting
show,
happened.
well, when we post the show, though, people don't have something for Saturday morning. People have told me that's their Saturday morning ritual to listen to us.
All right, fair enough.
It's like Saturday morning flashback on XRT. You gotta listen. You want to listen if it's a year you remember.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. Well, let's see. I got a show at 3 o'clock, so I do 90 minutes, 3 to 4:30 in Palatine. Thank you, Rick Amos. And then I'll be coming back here, and we will.
You going to the fireworks?
I think I might. It's going to be kind of hot and humid, so it depends how my electrolytes are.
That's what
Seriously, it's
Gatorade's
going to be
for.
hot. Doing 90
Gatorade,
minutes
my
on
friend.
stage, it's hot, man. It is hot. But
Gatorade Zero.
yeah, from Milwaukee. I plan on coming
You're
by.
supposed to have a glass of water for every glass of alcohol you have. I learned that years ago.
And beer is 99% water.
And 1% beer?
Love. Well,
we're planning to go with some friends and bring the picnic baskets
all right.
and all
So
that
if
stuff.
we want this to come out on Saturday, maybe we'll release this for our Patreon peeps, let them get a little early looky look, and then
sneak preview.
Sneak preview, and then hopefully to see everybody. And then last thing, since we're playing in Palatine and not Lake Forest, friends or not friends of Lake Forest, we will be playing on the 19th at Micky Finn's. Listener party at Micky Finn's.
In Libertyville. And I'm planning to be there trying to get. Here's the question I have for you. No, I'm going to be there. I'm trying to get my wife. I'm trying to get my wife to go.
Debbie.
I think she'll go. Here's a question that my son had. He's not 21. Can he go and just not drink alcohol?
If he wants to, go with his parents.
Is that allowed? I mean, some places want to let I went to a concert once at a place and they wouldn't let me in. Doesn't have a fake ID.
He's got a fake ID.
He does not. He doesn't do those things like we did. He's smarter than us. But seriously, I went once to a concert when I was like 20 and they wouldn't let me in because I wasn't 21. And I'm like, I won't drink alcohol. I promise. I just want to go to the concert. Nope.
What was it? Tom Jones?
No, it was something. It was like one of those XRT shows in the city.
Barbara
I
Streisand?
forgot. No. It was an XRT show, and I can't remember who. XRT has always had good stuff. I mean, I still listen to them for music. They're a good station.
Anytime we did music and we get Norm Weiner to put his letters on the show, we called it Extra Revenue Tonight, baby. Shout out to Hemmert, still doing Breakfast with the Beatles, I believe. They used to have their place on Belmont and Cicero. What a studio that was. Oh.
Yeah, now now they're owned by what, CBS Radio, or I've lost track of all
Diamond Broadcasting was the old school. And then
that was that with the diamond logo. That was cool, but that's long gone.
But anywho, Joe Weiss, happy 4th.
Happy Independence Day. I don't like this. I don't like to say 4th of July, and I'm going to tell you why.
May the 4th.
Because that's just another day in the calendar. Yeah. It's independent. You don't call Christmas 25th of December. You call it Christmas.
Yeah.
It's Independence Day. It's the day we celebrate our nation's independence and all the principles that went into that. And I urge everyone, it takes 2 minutes to read the Declaration of Independence. Go back and read it online. Because there's a lot of important principles I think we're forgetting today.
Put it in ChatGPT and then put it in a format you can understand. And we
like that Bible translation.
We like to wish all of our friends in London a happy workday.
Yeah, that's right. It is just the 4th of July in London. Hello. They're our friends now. They're our allies. We're not at war with them anymore.
Those ragamuffins, they'll never.
They'd be, if it wasn't for us, they'd be speaking German.
Churchill would agree. All right, Mr. Weiss. Happy Independence Day. See you next week. USA. Watch out for those fireworks on Wensia. Don't hit a caucus member. All right, over now.
Go Scouts.
Bye.
The Lake Forest Podcast is supported by viewers, listeners, and businesses just like you. Michelle Parno has lived and worked in Lake Forest for over 2 decades. Michelle's lending experience, when combined with her real estate expertise, makes her an invaluable asset to her clients as they navigate their home buying or selling process. Call Michelle now at 847-528-8721, 847-528-8721. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. Owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Ruzich, they are a cannabis cultivation center focusing on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Laracy & Company CPAs, founded in 2010 by Lake Forest's own Brian Laracy, specializes in tax preparation and bookkeeping services. Earning the People Love Us on Yelp award, their process is straightforward. Just upload, review, and file. For a free quote, visit LaracyCPA.com now. That's LARISEYCPA.com.
I'm excited to share with you something special from our Lake Forest community, the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa, located at 775 North Bank Lane in Lake Forest near Wisconsin Avenue. This just isn't any spa. They offer an amazing blend of traditional spa services plus the added benefit of medical procedures and treatments. In a relaxing and luxurious spa environment, you can enjoy a range of cosmetic and aesthetic treatments. These are all performed under the supervision of top medical professionals. The Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa provides skin care, facial rejuvenation, body contouring, laser hair removal, Botox, dermal fillers, chemical peels, and much more. What's great is that each treatment is tailored not just to enhance your appearance, but also to address specific skin concerns and to promote overall well-being. So if you're looking to pamper yourself and take your beauty routine to the next level, give the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa a call at 224-768-8028 or visit them at their location on North Bank Lane. It's an experience your skin will thank you for.
We'd also like to say we're thankful for our Patreon supporters, Otto, John C., Helen, Herrick, and J.M.